I'm excited to share Bill as an exclusive sponsor of the Thrivecast. They have been sponsoring the Thrivecast for so long. Thank you, Bill. Our firm has been using Bill for over a decade now. We actually use it in all of our foundational CFO and controllership engagements. We have to turn all of our clients' financial processes digital, and we do that with Bill. And you can check out some webinars and blogs and even toolkits that I build with Bill to help in your firm. So thank you, Bill, for being a sponsor of the Thrivecast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Thrivecast. You know, we bring some great guests, and I'm so pumped to bring our guests. I've been wanting to have this guest on for a while, and it's going to be Randy Crabtree, CPA, co-founder and partner of Tri-Merit Specialty Tax Professionals, has a long history in the profession. He's been doing this a long time. I get to be on his podcast soon, The Unique CPA, which he's been doing since 2019. It's like ranked among the world's 5% most popular programs, which is pretty sweet. So maybe I can get some FaceTime on his show, which is going to be awesome. And then Randy, he writes for the profession. Everybody knows Randy. He's in Accounting's Today's Voice column, Ask CPA Tax Advisor, Trend Lines, all kind of stuff. Randy, welcome to the show. I'm so pumped to have you. Thank you for coming, man.
Oh, believe me, this is a thrill for me. I've known about you and the podcast for years. I mean, you're cool. Like 100, right? So I know you've been around for a long time. And when I got that email that you were interested in having me on, I was thrilled. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, well, I had to try to get into your inbox somehow, and I was pumped that you said yes. So I've got a list of topics that are going to meander all over the place because you've done this for so long. There's so many things I could learn from you, and our listeners, typically firm owners. There's a lot they can learn from you too. I am curious. So just a little bit of your story. So you did run a firm, which is a traditional firm, and now you run Tri-Merit, which is. Well, explain that. And I want to know, okay, you used to run a firm, now you run Tri-Merit. Something happened to your health that is a particular thing. I would just love you to share a few minutes about that as you went from one organization to the other.
Yeah, so real quick, just background. Yeah, I was in generalist public accounting forever, a long time. And then 16 years ago, started Tri-Merit, which is specialty tax, but still in the profession, just more, I really just consider us more of a niche practice now. Mm-hmm. And we support tax preparers, tax advisors with what we do. But in between that journey or during that journey, you asked about the health. Actually 9 years ago, so almost 7 years after starting Tri-Merit, I had a stroke.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was not fun.
Wow.
But looking back, and it's weird to say this, looking back, it really changed my life for the better. So, it took me a long time to realize that, but it changed my outlook on the profession, my outlook on our business, the outlook on what my strengths and passions are. It just changed my whole, and I can say this because physically I feel fully recovered. And unfortunately, most stroke survivors don't get to the point I am physically. There's always some kind of deficit. And I'm very fortunate to the fact that physically, the recovery was fairly quick. Mentally, and we can always get into that at some point if you're interested, but mentally, it took a long time. I mean, I went through some strong mental struggles for about 5 years, and after that. But that's what happened to me.
My biggest, why did that happen? I think you're tying this to the way you worked, and you've changed the way. Tell me why. Yeah. You've shared a little bit with me.
Why the stroke happened, or why I changed?
Why the stroke? Why can you tie the stroke directly to the way your stress and the way you worked? Is it directly tied or not?
I don't think I can directly tie it to it.
Okay.
I can, and medical, they can't in the medical field either. They just can't tell for sure.
I see.
It's not uncommon for individuals that have strokes to never know why they had the stroke. What caused the
I
stroke.
see. Okay.
For me, there's a good possibility that the stroke was caused by a hole in my heart that I was born with, never knew existed.
I see. Okay.
In fact, everybody's born with the hole. Everybody has it. It closes on most people. For me, it didn't completely close.
I see.
And what that allowed is a clot, usually kind of can go through your heart and maybe get filtered out somewhere. For me, the clot went through this hole and went up to my brain and stopped the blood flow to my brain.
Yeah.
So, but stress can definitely contribute to it. And business was at a point in time where it was somewhat stressful. It was, we were a growing business, and stress definitely contributed to the mental recovery as well, or the lack or the slowness of recovery. But the stroke itself, very well work related, very well had a hand in it, but you'll never know for certain.
Okay. Well, now, but it changed your life. So there was some kind of experience with the stroke and probably the mental recovery, I think, which probably, man, that would freak me out because we're in mental businesses, right? This is mental work we do, not only technically, but mentally with caring and leading team, leading clients, and all those things. Did that freak you out trying to recover mentally going, how am I going to run this firm?
Yeah, it definitely did. It was probably not like front and center, but it was in the back there, and I knew it, but I didn't completely identify it. I didn't completely recognize it. But and you and I talked a little before, what was happening right at the same time of my stroke, or a year or two later, is I really saw that our business had grown nicely, but I saw that it was about to take off. The hockey stick, we were at the curve there, and we were about to just go up the handle of that stick. And that stress of knowing we're going to have to manage this growth, which that's not really my strength. And we can talk about that. And I didn't know that, but it technically wasn't. That managing this growth at the same time of trying to convince myself that I'm not going to die the next time there's a twinge in my head.
Oh man,
all that working together, just I think really prolonged the PTSD, the panic attacks, the depression, that post-stroke I was going through.
Yeah, which is, I don't know, but post-stroke, that's probably difficult for everybody recovering from a stroke. You're going to deal with a lot of those mental things, that I guess you get into. Is there, what are some things, now you can kind of teach younger firm owners, that are running firms, what are some things you wish you would have done differently? You wish you would have known that you can say, don't do this.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot, I imagine.
There, there's a benefit to being 60 years old. You've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. You've experienced a lot, and a lot of it. It's funny. I was going to say a lot of it comes with age, but I've seen some really, really talented younger firm owners right now that I'm in awe of.
Yes.
How did you know to do this? Where did you learn this? How? And it's insane. Not insane bad, insane just the level of knowledge and technology, information, everything they have. So but for me, if we go back to starting the firm in 1991, starting my accounting firm, Crabtree and Associates, which actually ended up becoming Crabtree Anderson, I did what probably a lot of people do still, and probably definitely did then, is I'm starting a business. I am going to help everybody. If somebody wants me to do their taxes, I'm going to do it. If somebody wants me to do their accounting, I'm going to do it. If someone wants to do their payroll, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so what I had just this small firm, generalist firm, and the one thing I've learned after starting Tri-Merit is niching is so important. And I know some people say niche. I always say niche, so we're going to get that out front. I'm a niche.
I do niching. I'm from the South, man. All right. It's niching.
All right. So that's one of the biggest things. And people will think, I just need revenue. I can't concentrate on one industry. If I've got a restaurant that wants me to help them, I'm going to help them. If I have a construction company that wants me to help them, I'm going to help them. Same thing with a dentist, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to everybody I know and telling them, I've got a shingle out now. Do you need help? And so they think it's going to slow my growth. But in reality, if you have more of a long-term look, and even you can do it in the short term, concentrating on that niche, on that expertise, that whether it's an industry, and I use this example all the time, and I know you and I are both friends with Josh Lance. You know, that niche that he's done in the craft brewing industry, I think is just amazing. But there's so many other people that have done that. And if you can concentrate on one industry and become the expert in that industry, one, hopefully it's a passionate industry to you too. You enjoy the industry. That your knowledge and your passion is just going to shine through, and the growth is you're going to get that hockey stick growth if you want it. Yeah. You want to control that at some point, but if you want it, you'll have that ability just because you're going to love what you're doing and people are going to see it, and your knowledge is going to show through because you have such a passion for who you're working with, what you're working on. Yeah. And so one of the biggest things I wish I would have known from the beginning, I wish I wouldn't have, because I love where I am today. And if I knew this back then, my practice probably would have been different. Okay. But for anybody else starting today, if I would have known that, I would have really tried to concentrate on one or two industries probably, and build a niche there.
Some kind of narrowness into focusing on a market. So we talk to people about what we call vertical niching, which is by an industry, and horizontal niching is by a type of service. And somehow you moved into tax credits, which I never would have thought about that as a niche, but dude, it's huge for you. It is massively big. Not only just ERC, which you do that, but you do all the credits, I think, for the top 100 firms, or like you support CPA firms, right?
We support CPA. So just as a side note to what you said there, I don't want anybody to turn this off just because you said ERC right now. Because
you're not a mill.
No, we are not a mill. I just want to point that out. No. We jumped into this early, and we know honestly, I got so passionate about the employer. I mean, passion is huge. If you can get passionate about what you're doing, and I've said this 5 times already, I probably said passion. But I got so passionate about this employee retention credit when the rules changed right before the beginning of 2001. Big changes. And I just was digging deep, and I was looking at tax code, and I was looking at everything IRS put out. And so from an ERC standpoint, and I know this isn't where we were going, but from an ERC standpoint, you got to be very careful, because we go in there, we look at this, we only take credits that you can defend. And right now, there's so much misinformation out there. Sure. I guess I created this tangent. Sorry.
No, it's good.
It's really important. Yeah. So to get into that.
But that's what you do. Your specialty is because tax credits, you could kind of get pretty funky on those. Clients could get pretty funky to try to claim those when they're not allowed. The ERC takes a lot of assessment up front, even before you try to claim the thing, to even know if somebody's eligible. And the mills are not doing that upfront care and assessment, which I know you guys do at Tri-Merit. But what got you into tax credits? Like, why did you pick it, or did it pick you? You stumble into it?
It actually picked me.
Okay. How did that happen? That's pretty common, we hear.
So, it's so, and I had I knew, so we started as R&D tax credits, the Tri-Merit, this firm. Okay. But to back up a little bit, and this is a story we can get into if we want at some point, but going back to my firm that I started in 91 and became this generalist and took everybody. We became, based on that and me not controlling the growth, which I think controlling growth is important, with me not developing a niche, we just became way too tax heavy, and really just became compliance mills. I mean, if we're looking at mills, I mean, that's what it became. And so unfortunately, and I'm going to say this, but when I say it, realize you do not have to get where I got to with this. You can avoid it. What happened to me is I got burnt out. The tax seasons were just too long, too strong, too heavy. I was working nonstop. I was too much of a control freak. I had to look at every tax return. I didn't trust the people. I trusted them, but everything had to be perfect.
Yeah.
And so what happened is in 2006, I ended up merging my firm with another firm my partner went with, and I got bought out.
Oh, I see. Okay. On purpose,
Yeah,
you were
and
like, I got to get out of this firm, and you
I
wanted
gotta
to
get
exit.
out.
Okay.
I wanted to, and you don't have to. And looking back, I didn't have to. If I would have changed things, if I would have done things different, if I would have found a way to focus my time better, if I would, there's all these things I could have done that I didn't. But so I did this. I merged with the firm. One of the reasons I did this is I could tell my kids were different during tax season.
Oh,
they
wow.
just, me being gone was affecting them, and they were young. They were, in their, single digits still.
Yeah, really.
8, 9 years old or
Yeah.
so. And it was affecting them. And so it just got to the point like, okay, you know what? I got to do something different. And what I did was merge the firm, but I had no plan. I was like, all right, well, I took off January 1st of 2006 until end of summer, and then thought, you know what?
Wow.
I'm not independently wealthy.
you gotta go get a job, Randy.
I've got to do something. And when I did that, all of a sudden R&D tax credits just started finding me. So that this is a really long answer to your question.
Good stuff. Yeah. Well, this is how these journeys work, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think the background's important in everybody's story, and whether you're an entrepreneur or whatever it is, that background story is important. And so for me, these credits started finding me. I just started hearing about it. I started reading about it. I knew they existed when I had my firm, but we looked at one or something like that when we had the firm.
Yeah.
And so R&D tax credits just started finding me. And I actually ended up going to work with another firm for a few months that was starting up an R&D tax credit firm. And unfortunately, they had a great opportunity. They don't exist anymore. Whatever the reasons,
for sure.
Mismanaged really. And some of the guys that were there, I still know, but I saw this opportunity for someone to go out and build a practice that supported the profession, supported the tax advisor. At the time, I probably called the tax preparer. Now my mindset is all about advisory. Supported the tax advisor, not going directly to clients. We were going to be the extension of the tax advisor's team, allowing them to bring these very intricate, at the time, it was only R&D tax credits, but very intricate credits and incentives. Yeah. A lot of knowledge needed. A lot of the things we do kind of have an engineering background too. And so we have a lot of engineers on staff, but we want to allow these tax practitioners to be able to bring these tax saving opportunities to their clients. And I didn't want to go directly to their client because me personally, I don't want someone trying to sell some kind of tax service to my client. So let's go out, let's educate the tax preparer, let's let them know what's out here. And then from there, they'll bring us to their client. So that's the, I guess, the kind of the origin story a little bit. After a few months at that other firm, I just realized that they weren't going to do the same path that I wanted to do. And I tried to talk to them about it and finally just said, all right, well, I'm going to go start my own then.
And you started your own. Now, one time you told me, you said you saw the growth coming. You were talking about that hockey stick. Like you knew it was coming. How did you know that? And is that something we can learn in our firm? Just like growth's about to come, you knew it. Now you said you're not good at managing growth. I don't know what you meant by that. But how did you know growth was coming? How did you see that?
So I have the magic 8 ball. So I shook it and it said most definitely yes.
Want one.
And so
I want one of those, man. Give it up, Randy.
Part of it is just, there's one major effect, but one is setting the stage. I knew for the longest time, I'm a CPA. We know we don't like to be sold to. We're skeptical until we see something. And I'm not going to go to you today and say, hey, I can help you with R&D tax credits. And immediately you trust me and believe that I'm the expert at it or anything like that. So we knew there was going to be a slow growth curve from a standpoint of we need to show people that we are a ethical, respectable, educated company that is going to help them and support them and their clients. So from that standpoint, we knew that was going to be a little bit of a growth in that, just that alone. But that we were very fortunate. We had about, 7 years to set that stage, and we had some decent growth. We went from $0 to $2.5 million in 6 years or something like that, which was nice growth.
That is very good growth. Yeah.
It pales to what happened the next 6 years then, but we were set up perfectly. Timings can be a big part of success. Mm-hmm. Although I can expand on that because there's a lot of things there. But timing can be a great point to success. Congress, to the R&D tax credit, just made some significant changes in 2016. And from those changes, it made it a lot more user-friendly.
That's how
we got to ignore AMT for most businesses. We could use the credit against payroll taxes for some businesses.
Yeah.
And that was coming in 17 was the first year, I think, of that. So we just knew from that standpoint. So it was obvious we were going to have a lot lot more clients that we were going to be able to help because AMT mainly wasn't going to be an issue anymore. So that was a big part.
And if you can offset it against payroll tax, like that's a huge deal on R&D. It's like, what? I get to put a credit on my payroll, which is nuts. And so you knew when that message went out to this entrepreneurial community, they're going to be like, where do I sign up if I qualify? Right. So very cool. I'm excited to share Divvy as an exclusive sponsor of the Thrivecast. Unlike expense management, spend management from Divvy now lets us provide cards to our team members, apply budgets to those cards with preset levels up front for each team member. And as we've implemented spend management, we no longer have to deal with the messy receipts on the back end of our expense management process. Check out getdivvy.com. That's GETDIVVY.com for more information on managing your funds and moving them to the front of your spend process. Well, how about your team? Like we care a lot about team, making sure team are healthy. Our profession's known to not really, we burn out people. Now that's probably that's the big four. It was big eight when I was coming up, probably for you too.
Me too. Yep.
So the big eight was burning everybody out. And newer, more tech savvy firms don't actually do that anymore. Like the ones you're following on Twitter, that we don't do that because our team are like, I'm not doing that. How did you learn to care for team like differently? Like, how do you care for your team now? What's your perspective on caring for the Tri-Merit team, and how did that change from when you ran your own firm?
So for running my own firm, I think this was one of my problems. I wanted the team to be healthy and enjoy what they're doing. And what I did, which was a lot of us do, is I took everything onto myself rather than delegate.
That's true.
And so we as a firm, we've got this culture that, can I take credit? I think it's all of us take credit that we all work together. We all support each other. We all want the same thing, which is the success of the clients and what we bring to them. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game. And when I have read that book and talking about more of, you have to have this just cause that's greater than yourself. And it's not about the financial rewards that you're going to gain with the business, but it's how you're helping the users and what that message is. And so I think we kind of just have that mindset. But that alone is not going to be enough. You have to take care of the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that they enjoy what they're doing. One of the things we do is we just, and how do you define this? I don't know, but we have fun. We enjoy everything we do. And if somebody's having an issue, I feel that we have this open dialogue available. You can talk to anybody about anything. And I know somebody's not going to want to talk to me potentially because, whatever, he started the business. I don't want to tell him I feel like I'm got too much workload right now, because then he's going to judge that I can't do it.
Right.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
We're all working on this together.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of having this openness, showing everybody that we're all working together. We're a team, even though we may be working, we all don't work on the exact same thing. We have 8 services now. And so, we have teams on that, but that we enjoy each other's company, that we want to know who you are other than your job title.
Right.
That you have these passions outside of work, and if we can incorporate those into work, we do. But then a big part is just mental health too, making sure that if there is a structure, if there is an issue where somebody is feeling burnt out or feeling stress, stress by itself is not terrible, but feeling stress, feeling burnout, feeling detached from work. I personally, man, I'm going all over with this answer.
I love it. It's good stuff, man. You're teaching us, Randy.
I personally try to be vulnerable. I try to be open. I mean, I'll talk about my stroke. I'll talk about the depression that I dealt with after the stroke. I think if you're vulnerable as a leader, and I honestly don't look at myself as a leader, but if you're vulnerable as, I don't get it.
You are.
Sounds like I was fishing for that, doesn't it? I wasn't.
You're not that kind of guy.
If you're vulnerable as a leader, that just goes so far. I mean, people know that you're open. You can talk about anything. They can talk about anything. And somehow, as a remote business, which is pretty much what we are.
Yeah, we are too.
We've built this culture that people just seem to love. We don't have people leave. They stick around, and we recognize the good work everybody does, and we celebrate the successes that we get for our clients.
Yeah, and you think that's probably based a lot on the trust and the openness, transparency. Those are things we value too, and think team value being able to actually talk about the hard things they're going through. And we have those conversations privately, so that they can feel there's a place to talk about it.
Yes.
But if you lead as a leader and go, hey, we struggle too, it's not like we don't struggle. We don't necessarily talk about it with the team, but you're saying that leads to a safe place that team tend to grow in and want to stay in.
Yep. Oh, I believe that. I mean, in the 16 years, my numbers are approximate, but I'm pretty confident we have about 60, 65 people right now. In 15 years, I think we've had 7 people leave voluntarily. I mean, people stick around. And again, can I define it at all? Can I define it in depth? Why? I know it's culture. I know it's openness. I know it's everything we talked about. Do I have a game plan that says this is how you do it? No, I just know what works for us. Yeah. I mean, simple things like, and maybe it doesn't sound simple, with 60 people, getting everybody together twice a year is not cheap. No. But twice a year, we get everybody in the same room. We go to May, it'll be Chicago. Last November, it was San Diego. Before that, it was Arizona. Before that, it was Orlando. So we get everybody together, have team meetings, more about just having fun and brainstorming as a group. Everybody can contribute to where Tri-Merit's going, what we see, what's the next. One of the brainstorming sessions we had in Chicago last year was, what else can we do to help our clients? Are there other services? Are there other things that we should look at? Are there things that we can help the tax preparer and the clients going forward? So we brainstorm there, and we've come up with a few new niches that we can add to our services because of that, everybody's contribution to those ideas.
I love it. Cool. All right. So Randy, I kind of want to take a turn a little bit here in our conversation. So, but it's something you and I are both passionate about, which is not what everybody's passionate about. They may run a firm, but you and I care a lot about our profession. Just generally, we think it's, it's very powerful profession. It does change, clients' lives. We get to be so close to them so quickly. Those kind of things make this public profession of accounting such a cool place to work. And I mean, can you just state kind of what you think the value of the profession is? Maybe say you're talking to a freshman in college. All right. I'm a freshman in college, which I get accused of that all the time. So
you do look very young.
I know, right? You said I was 100 when we started. Now I'm young, right, Randy? Okay. So you got to sell me the value of our profession if I'm a freshman in college, because I haven't picked my major yet. I was still in a rock band freshman year of college, so I hadn't picked accounting.
I want to hear some of these songs, or I want to see you play, or whatever role you were.
No, we suck. But that's okay. So pitch the value of the profession to me.
Well,
what do you think
the value
it is?
of the profession? Well, so this is a positive. We get to help these businesses. We get to see them thrive. We get to see families, grow together through the business. We get to watch these people that we help, send their kids to college. We get to find out ways to do that. We get to help them generate, their retirement wealth. We get all these things that we are the most trusted advisor for pretty much everybody out there. It's just there's studies and everything that show, and so the satisfaction you get to seeing this, excavating business go from a startup to hiring 100 people and having 100 people's families be supported by that is just so rewarding. The problem that we have is, back to what I said earlier, we just got to make sure we're helping the people that make sense for us,
right?
Because we have to help ourselves,
right?
As well. And so if we can build our passion into that, I think why we're not seeing as many people go into the profession as we should, and I'm not sure I'm answering your question now, but I'm going down this path.
Do it.
You can't stop me.
You can't stop me, Jason.
I think part of the problem that we're not seeing, why those freshmen are not becoming accounting majors, and it's, I don't have the stats. I was talking to Dan Hood from Accounting Today 2 weeks ago, and he was telling me that 1% of college students have now enrolled into accounting degrees, where 15 years ago it was 2% of students. That's a huge. I'm trusting Dan's percentages, but I that's a huge percentage. And I think the reason they're not is a few things. One, and you mentioned it before, we got this Big Four now.
That's
was the Big Eight.
Big Four.
That this is my impression. I never was a Big Eight, Big Four person, but my impression is they just burn you out. They just churn and burn. Get in your 3,000. And I don't know the number, but 3,000 hours of billable hours a year. And so
wow.
If you're hearing these stories, and I think I've heard 2,800 is not a number that's uncommon. I might be wrong there, but
that's crazy.
That's huge.
That's crazy.
And so if you're hearing this, that, hey, my older sister just went into accounting and we never see her because she's working nonstop 7 days a week. So the perception's there. And if you're a college freshman and you hear that, well, why do I want to go into this? Believe me, there's answers to this. I'm not just just saying a horror story, because it's not all like this. But why am I going to go into accounting when, IT looks so sexy a career? Let me do that. Or investment banking or whatever else that people don't talk about, the burnout that they have in the profession. So what I would tell that freshman is, it's not the reality. It is the reality in some cases, but like you mentioned before, we've got all these modern firms that have so much unique ideas on how to do things different, that you can have that successful career helping businesses get rewarded today. That's the other thing. I think the pay scale needs to go up in our profession. And I think part of that is our billing practices need to change. I don't think we bill enough.
Right.
We undervalue our services. So get that to go, but show them you can be successful today. You can help all these businesses. You can have the pride in seeing this business grow, seeing this family be successful, seeing this, however you define success. You can have the pride in this, and you are their person. You are their advisor. You are the one that's going to to contribute to this success. So
Yeah.
if you want to help people, and we all do, that's
Yeah.
our mindset as accountants.
Right.
If you want to help people, you can do it while helping yourself at the same time. And that's what we have to educate people on.
No, that is a really cool way to say it. So you're basically saying the perception younger people in college have is actually incorrect now. It's inaccurate. Now, they might be seeing it or from professors or people they know that do still go into Big Four where they do still burn you out. But because the Big Four is just, that's a handful of our profession. The smaller firms, these modern firms that are able to build more modern ways to work, they don't do that to people, and you still get to care for clients and take care of them. And those the right client, right? And you made a point about this, is picking the right client is key, because you, firm owner, are also valuable. And so if you skip over that, you're going to just dump all kinds of crap on you, and you're going to have a miserable life. So everybody can win. The team can win, and you can win as an owner too. And all of you get to participate in changing the lives of the entrepreneurs we serve.
Win.
Yeah. It's very cool. Well, one thing. Okay, so there's this 150-hour rule, right? That everybody knows about, right? Now, when you and I were getting our CPA, we didn't have the 150-hour rule, right? So all I had to do was get a degree in just a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I could sit for the exam and get my CPA. But they instituted this. I don't know when they did that, in the 90s, late 90s, or something like that. So.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, I can't remember. But a lot of people are like, is that one of the reasons people have to get more hours before they sit for the exam? Is that a reason people aren't going into the profession? What do you think about that? I know there's no right way to know the truth, but what are your thoughts about the 150-hour rule? I'm putting you on the spot.
No, which is fine. This is a hot topic.
Everybody's
talking about it right now. I kind of go back and forth a little bit. So where I sit today is I don't see us changing it. So I think we have to live within those rules. I just don't see. I know right now, like Minnesota has proposed, get a 4-year degree, and then you can't sit to the exam until you get X numbers of CPE hours or X number, or 2 years of work experience. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's going to change. Work experience in general, I learned. I mean, and we all do. We learn so much more working.
Oh yeah, totally.
Than I'm going to learn in that extra 30 hours. It's just going to happen.
Totally.
But it's not going to change. So, and do you think we need to live? I don't think it's going to change. So I think we need to live under those requirements. What we need to do, and this kind of goes back to what we said before a little bit, is I don't think the pay's kept up with the extra year of college. I don't think, this is my perception, that I can do the 4-year IT degree and probably make as much or more than if I do the 5-year accounting degree.
True.
And that's partly on us. On us as practitioners, undervaluing the value of undervaluing the value. Sure, we'll go with that.
That's it.
Of our services.
That's what's happening.
and because of that, we can't pay the people coming out of college the dollars that really other people are doing.
Yeah.
So I think we have to live into those rules. I think as a we're not going to have collusion and we're all going to come up with the same pricing or anything like that. No. But we just need to value our services more and show the client. It's so easy in many situations to show the value, maybe not as much as an audit, but at least from a tax standpoint.
Yeah.
I can show the value of this, what I just gave to you. And so from the 150-hour rule, yes, I think that's been a deterrent. I think there's ways around that. I don't think we're going to get rid of it. And so we just have to, I think, promote the value of, we are an advanced degree. We are not.
Yeah, true.
And because of that, we are in a profession where this pay rate is going to be higher.
Yeah.
How do we do that? We're just going to have to see.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Okay. I haven't heard anybody go that direction, but I like it, which is you're saying we have to be attractive enough to pay the kinds of salaries that represent we're just a high value profession, and right now we're not there. And a lot of times that's the accountants running firms. They suppress a little bit of their value, and so they don't bring in the prices that are really more representational of the high value work we do. So if we all raise our prices, it raises all the ships, right? And we become more of a valued profession. We can pay more to people. We start attracting more team, and that takes years to do that.
Yep. Yeah, it does. This is not an overnight change. You know, one of my missions through and you alluded to this too, but one of my missions through the Unique CPA is to, make the accounting profession, accounting professionals better, healthier, work-life balance more, be more profitable, working less hours. You can handle the same amount of clients. Most people can handle the same amount of clients they're doing right now in less hours by just being more efficient with your time, not being so reactive to texts and emails and Teams messages, and give yourself focus time. There's so many things you can do under the constraints that you currently have to be better at your job, be happier with your job because you're not going to be working 80 hours a week. And so I think it's not just obviously raise your prices, but it's become more profitable by being more efficient with how you're currently doing work.
Yeah, cool. So a lot of strategies. All right. So as we're wrapping up here, just kind of give me your assessment.
I'm not leaving, just so you know. I'm staying.
So I can't even kick you off of my own podcast, man.
No, you cannot.
Okay. So now everybody gets to watch a fight between Jason and Randy. Get off. Hang up, man. Hang up. No, I won't hang up.
I'm not.
This will be fun, man. So teach us, millennial firm owners. That's the name I'm gonna get it. They are running some smarter firms. Some of them, they're being smarter about this. I think a lot of it's because of what they're not going to put up with. They're like, hey, I'm in this profession, but you know what I'm not doing? That crap y'all did. So I'm starting there. Yeah. And so, they got a little bit of gumption going, we're going to do it differently whether you like it or not. Gen Xers and baby boomers. So what are some things they're doing right, like that we need to steal and rip off? I'm all about stealing.
You're younger than me, so I'm going to put you in this category too. So you're those smart, young. You're not 100. I take that back.
Thank you, Randy. Well, you said I was 100, then I was good looking, all kind of stuff, man.
Well, you've been podcasting forever, so in podcast life,
that's right.
You really are like 100.
That's right. Yeah, it's like dog years. So
exactly. And so what these startup millennial, even mature startup modern businesses are doing is there's so many things. They're seeing what my boomer generation has done, and like you said, they're going to do this different. I'm not going to work 80 hours. And when I heard people talking about, 60 hours a week, they were crazy during texting. Like, holy crap! I would have loved to just work 60 hours.
That's great.
It was stupid that I worked 80 or whatever it was. So I shouldn't be jealous of it. But they're just so much smarter. So there's all kinds of things. Technology is one. I mean, integrating technology in business, you can automate so much of what's going on, from just data collection with tax returns to even inputting stuff to, and I'm no expert on this, but just automation of hey, go sign your 8879. That's all automate. All these things. And what happens is some of the non-millennial firms, and probably some of the millennial firms obviously too, they just think, I don't have time for this. I can't. I mean, they get afraid of technology. You've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time to spend 50 hours this year to get all this, whatever, I'm picking a number.
Yeah.
But all these automations set up in my business, getting all these things to work together. So rather than do it, they just ignore it. There's another excuse. Oh, I got a deadline tomorrow. I got sales tax tomorrow. I got to run payroll tomorrow. I got September 15th. I got October 15th. I got whatever. And so it's just always looking at that. It's just the same over and over. But in reality, if you just take the time, even outsource someone doing this for you, obviously, take the time to get more technical savvy, to get more technology and build into your practice, man, you are going to be so much more efficient when it comes to tax season or all season, but tax season in general.
Yeah.
That I think is just a big difference I see from the millennial firm or the legacy firm or whatever you want to call it, the older, mature.
Yeah.
So that's one. I mean, I can go into about five
Yeah.
more.
No,
it's up to you.
that's good. I mean, I know there are a lot of things, and we've all learned a lot, 30 years, I'm 30 years in my career. You're longer in your career than I am. And you learn a lot at that time. But the younger firms are just really kind of not putting up with a lot of things, and they want to change things.
Business development.
That's fine.
I mean, they just do business development completely different, and almost to the point where they have these inbound leads. I mean, you don't even have to look for business. Business is coming to them, through digital marketing. That's just huge. To have that pipeline sitting there because you developed a niche,
right?
And now you can show people your expertise in that niche, and they're just coming to you. So simple things like that.
Yeah, it's wild. Well, I mean, it was like. This was true early in our career. We couldn't advertise, right? What was
right? Correct.
Yeah, which blows people's minds. It's like digital marketing. No, we were not allowed to actually advertise. It's like what? That's crazy. Yeah. So the world was okay. So here's the old guys kind of complaining about the past. I remember
back in my day
when it snowed and I walked up him. So we don't want to go down that road. We're trying to learn how to do this different. So, well, Randy, this is awesome to have you on the show and have you just tell us all the things you learned. It's so cool. What should people do to go online and read more about you? The Unique CPA, they need to be listening. You have great guests on that show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very fortunate that people say yes when I ask them to be on the show. People like you say yes when I ask them to be on the show.
Yeah.
So Unique CPA, you can find it anywhere podcasts are out there, just like you, I'm assuming. TriMerit is the website, tri-merit.com. Meet the team page there. You can get my information. Our marketing team is really good. So I'm usually all over social media somewhere in LinkedIn. For sure. We have a lot of stuff out there. So you could reach out to me any of those places and find out more and see what we're doing. And you can listen to Jason on the Unique CPA.
That's
coming
right.
up.
I can't wait, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. That's going to be a lot of fun. So,
cool. It'll be. We laughed enough today. We'll do the same thing over there.
We got to laugh at on your show too. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on the Thrivecast. And Randy, thank you so much for teaching us, man. We need people teaching us how to do this better as we grow our firm. So we appreciate you.
Just share what I've lived through. So that's it.
All right. Thanks, Randy. Take care. We'll see you.